Applying filters to clips in a video project is a fairly straightforward process. I'm going to explain that in this lesson, and it won't take very long to do that. But I'm going to go beyond that and give you a couple of tips about how to use filters. One, I'm going to show you how you can animate filters over time. There is no built-in way to animate filters, make them change over time. You can animate things like transform properties, position, scale, and rotation, along with opacity and layer styles, but you can't animate filter properties. But I'm going to show you a way to give the semblance of animating filters. I'm also going to show you how to use filters to create video transitions. To follow along, go to Working Files, go to Photoshop PSD Files, and open up 0602 Filters. We're going to apply filters to this one, and then apply filters to these two guys to create a video transition between the two of them. So we'll start with this one. For a filter to work properly on a clip inside a video project, you have to first convert that clip into a smart object, and I'll show you why that is. Let's not convert this one and then apply a filter. So I'll go up to Filter here, and go to Oil Paint, which looks really cool. And we'll make some adjustments here to make it a little bit more obvious. We'll change the scale, maybe. Change the shine, make it a little more obvious like that. And then we'll click OK. Then there it shows up in the clip, and you may think, well, that worked. Why bother converting it to a smart object layer? Well, what happened here is that the filter is applied to one frame. This clip was about 11 seconds long, so it's 330 plus frames or so. If I click the right arrow key or the left arrow key, watch what happens. I'll go right, and away it goes. It's on a frame. I'll go back one notch. There we go, we're back. I'll go one more frame backwards, and it's not there. It's on a single frame. It's not on the entire clip. So you have to convert it to a smart object layer to get it on the entire clip. So I'm going to undo all that, but it's going up here to History and going back to Open and closing this down. Okay, so let's convert this clip to a smart object. It's very easy. There it is selected there. Here it is inside the Layers panel. I right-click and I just go Convert to Smart Object. And now it turns purple, which tells you that you cannot access the audio or the video speed anymore. If you click on this little guy here, you see it's only motion now. All right. So let's apply a filter to it. Just go back up to Filter, and we'll apply the same one we did a second ago, Oil Paint. And I like the way this looks there, so I'll click OK. And now it's applied to every frame in this clip. If I start dragging the playhead along here, you'll see that it's applied to every single frame. And it looks, I think, phenomenal. Now notice it's kind of herky-jerky as we drag it along there, not really smooth playback. That's because Photoshop and my computer are working really hard to make this thing play back smoothly. That's a lot of stuff going on inside that high-definition video clip. And so it has to work pretty hard to catch up. If I press the space bar now to play this, it's just going to kind of jump ahead like 10, 20 frames at a time like that. Not smooth playback. But when I render this as a video file, it will be smooth. But I'm here to tell you, when you do render something like this, on my computer, it takes about 1 minute for every second of video. So just keep that in mind. Rendering can take a long time when you work with really busy filters like this. Okay, this is all well and good, but you know, if you go from a video clip to this one with the filter applied, it'll be really abrupt. And I think it would be nicer to kind of have it be more gradual. And the way you can make it more gradual is to use a fade with a duplicated copy of this clip. So let me show you how to do that. I'm going to take the Scene 8 clip here. I'm going to duplicate it by dragging it above the video group here with my Alt or Option key down. So Alt key down here in Windows, Option on Mac, drag it above the video group. I'm creating a whole new video layer here, a whole new track with the exact same clip up there. Now I want it to come on gradually, so I'm going to put my playhead back over here to maybe about 2 seconds or so. There we go. Now I want to gradually change from an unfiltered clip to a filtered clip. So what I need to do is split the clip. So I'm going to split it there like that. Now I split this one here, and what happens sometimes is that Photoshop puts it on 2 tracks. I don't need to do that, so I'll click away just to select this one and drag it back down like that. We don't need that second track. There we go. What I want to do now is have this one be unfiltered, basically. I'm going to gradually go to this one down here. So I click on this one, and I'm going to turn off its filter. Right there it's selected here, so I just turn off Oil Paint. And now this one will not have the Oil Paint filter applied to it. It'll be filter free. And so how do I gradually get to the one below it? I just apply a little fade to this one, transition fade. So I go to transitions over here and grab fade here. And what fade does is it goes from full opacity on that clip to transparency and then reveals the clip below it. So what will happen here is that the video will gradually go from this little clip on the left and gradually reveal the clip below it in the timeline. But when it gets to the end of that small clip, it's going to jump to the next clip in that same track on track 2. And in this case, it's not necessarily bad because that second half, that copy there on the right, it equals the one on the track below it. But if you want to make some subsequent changes to the clips, it's best to make this second part of it there on the track 2, make that transparent. And to do that, I simply just click on the clip to make it active and then go over to the Layers panel and switch off its little eyeball, turn off its visibility there. So now we're gradually going to go from this unfiltered clip to the filtered one like so. I'll just kind of drag through it because it won't be too smooth. But there you go. It reveals the filtered clip below it on a gradual basis instead of abruptly that way. Now if I want to change this filter, if I want to have the properties change on it, I can do the same kind of a process here. I can have it go from this to a changed version. So I'm going to have the changed version show up here. And remember, this clip up here has the exact same properties as the one down below it. It's just that the eyeball's turned off on it. So I'm going to split this clip up here. Click the split there to split that guy. There we go. And I want this one to be turned back on. So I select it. It's now a new copy over here, copy 3 it says. I turn on its little visibility. So now this one's going to be visible. I want to change the properties of this filter. So since this is a smart object, we can just double click on oil paint like that and open up the oil paint dialog box here. Let's change this quite a bit so we can see that it's different. So we'll just take the bristle detail here and bring it way down and make it even more different like that. So it should be pretty obvious when we go from one to the next. All right. So now we're going to go from this one to that one. And to do that, we need to then gradually go from here to there. So we just put a fade on this one on top here and it'll fade to this one on top. So I just take a fade here, click on this. Put the fade at the beginning there like that. It's 1 second long. We can make it longer or shorter, whatever we want. But there you go. Let's go back to the previous clip right there. And we'll just gradually shift from it to the slightly changed one there, which then allows you to basically change the properties of a filter that way. And we could do this kind of back and forth if we want to. If I want to apply another filter or take this filter off and replace it with something else, all that can be done because we're working with smart filters here. We're working with a smart object. But I think you can see how we can transition to a filter and make it appear that it's changing over time when in fact what we're doing is just using a couple of different clips and fading from one to the next. So that's how you apply filters and get them to change over time. Let's talk about using filters to create transitions. Take a look at these two guys over here. Right now you see they're not smart objects. They're just these two video clips. There's the Matterhorn like that and the Matterhorn like this. We want to transition from one to the next here. So we need to convert both of them to smart objects. But before we do that, let me just duplicate them. So I want to take time-lapse 2 here and drag it up to video track 2 or video group 2. So I'm going to expand the view of the layers panel a little bit here by just clicking this tab to kind of open it up like that. I want to take that from here, put it up in video group 2. I want it to appear after all these duplicated clips. So to do that, I need to put it at the top of this group here. I could always move it around later, but it's easier just to drag it there in the first place. So I hold on my Alt-Option key here and drag it up like that. I want it to go right below the video group 2 name, so it appears right there in that order. Same thing for this clip here, Scenic 9, Alt-Option, drag that one up there, above those guys, right below the video group 2 name there. There it goes. Now they're all duplicated and in order. I want to have this clip go from being unfiltered like this and have it get blurry, really blurry, and then have this one start off really blurry and then gradually become unfiltered. So how do I do that? Well, I've got these guys on top. I'm not going to mess with them in terms of the filters, but the ones on the bottom, I'm going to apply a blur effect to these two on the bottom. So I click on this one first, and then I right-click over here, and I say Convert to Smart Object. And I'm going to apply a blur to that one. So I go up to Filter, I go down to Blur, and let's do Gaussian Blur here. There we go. Make it really blurry. Horribly, horribly blurry, like right around 40, 50, something like that. Now I convert this one to a Smart Object. So I right-click on it. Smart object, make it equally blurry. So I go to filter, and what's going on here? How come I can't pick these guys? They're all grayed out. Well, when you apply a filter to a clip, not only does that clip have to be active, but you also have to have the playhead on top of it. So let me get the playhead over here so that it's visible now. And now, when I click on it and go to filter, then I'll have a chance to put on the blur again. I can just click Gaussian blur up here, apply the same one, and it'll retain the previous settings. So it'll be exactly the same as the other clip. So I click OK. So now the two clips on the bottom have Gaussian blur on them, but you can't see them because the clips on top are covering them up. But let me apply a couple of fades to these clips on top, and we'll gradually go from one to the other. So now I want to apply a transition to this first clip. So I'm going to go over here to the transition icon, click on that, and go to fade. And I'd like the fade to be, let's say, 2 seconds long. So I'm going to select this and type in 2 instead, like that. And I'm going to drag fade down to here. And I just want it on the left-hand side, not on both of those together, just on the left side there. So we'll fade from fully opaque here down to transparency, revealing this blurry clip below it. Then I want to fade up on this one. So I'm going to go back, get the same routine here. Click on U, get fade like that, and it'll fade up from transparency to opacity here from one to the next. So let's take a look at these guys now. Put the playhead back there. We're gradually going to go from unfiltered to blurry, like that. And then blurry here, and then fully opaque. So that is how you can use a filter. It can be any filter. It doesn't have to be just blur, to go from one clip to another. It's a nice way to have a gradual transition, just another kind of transition that's not available to you here over in this collection of transitions. So that is how you work with filters here on the video side of Photoshop.